because in case chas v'shalom they don't keep the vow. So that was the last thing that we were discussing on 32, 32b 1. The last thing the Gemara said was the Gemara says Ba'avon Rebbe Omer Ba'avon Nidarim. Rebbe says, morning Adam, Ba'avon Nidarim Banim Meitim Kashem Ketanim. That he says that as a result of the sin of Nidarim, the children could pass away when they're young. It's a very serious punishment. Good morning, Ronnie.
Good morning.
And we explained yesterday that once a child is 13, they will not be punished for anything that their father does wrong. It's only a child that's under 13 or a girl that's under 12 that might be possibly punished for the actions of their father. So we're up to Adam 32b1 in the middle of that first paragraph. Rabbi Omer. The Gemara says, where is this pasuk? Where is the source of such a thing? It's a very serious statement to say. So, Shenema al titein es picha lachati es b'tarecha. Don't allow your mouth to go ahead.
Just morning. I'll buy you one.
And to sin, to go ahead and
I don't know one. I don't know. We finished the box.
To cause that there should be a punishment as a result of your iniquity, as a result of your sin, and it's going to hurt es b'sarecha, your flesh. It's going to hurt your flesh, meaning the children that are considered that your flesh. And don't say in front of the agent of the Hegdesh, right? The Gabbai or the agent of Hegdesh that's coming to collect the payment of the vow that you made to Hegdesh, and you're going to say, Kishkaga I made a mistake when I made the vow. It wasn't a mistake. Lama yiksof elakim al kolecha. Why should you create a situation that Hashem should get upset because of your kolecha, morning mars, because of your voice, because of your vow, v'chibel as maaseh yadecha, and to punish the work of your hands. What is considered the handiwork of a person? The handiwork of a person. Sons and daughters of a person, that's called the Masiyadecha. That's your work. You work hard, you take care of them, you support them. And morning, Mark.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good to see you, and good to Ronnie and everybody who's joined us. So now the Gemara says, Tana Rabbanan. We're now on 32b1, the bottom of the first column. Tana Rabbanan. Vavon nidarim banim meitim. The sin of the darim, the person that the vows, his children could pass away as a result of that. Now, this Gemara you can learn two ways. It doesn't say that the children pass away when the children are young, because we had the Gemara beforehand that said that the children could pass away only when they're young as a result of the under 12, under 13 for boys, and 12 for girls. So this Gemara does not say when the children are young. So it's possible, this Gemara, like we said yesterday from Reuven Feinstein, it's possible that this Gemara is saying that when a child is bar mitzvah at 13, if he has his own sins or whatever, he's over 13, whatever it is, that might be worthy of punishment, and but the father's protection, but the father doing good things in the world will protect the life of his child. But if the father does this sin of the darim, the child might lose the protection and therefore could pass away as a result of the darim. So, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, "Bavon bittul Torah." Good morning, Simon. The sin of bittul Torah, the fact that a person does not give respect to the study of Torah and just waste time from Torah, which people don't realize that it's a big problem, wasting time, right? We have a mitzvah to learn Torah, right? That mitzvah of learning Torah is a mitzvah that's a real constant mitzvah in a certain sense. But we have, of course, when we have to go to work, the person got to go to work. they get married, they have children, they tend to the kids, and they're involved in different things that they're not, they have an allowance not to be learning all the time. But there's other things, right, Morris, that people are involved in doing that they need to do. But nevertheless, when they're not involved in doing other things that need to be done, the mitzvah of study of Torah is upon them, right? The concept of just wasting time and killing time. Now, a person sometimes needs some downtime, needs some relaxation, needs to relax, whatever. There's certain things, but then there's something called when it's just wasting time, or it's not, and not taking advantage of the opportunity of learning Torah, and that's called avon bittul Torah. It's actually a sin. It's a hard thing to hear. People to hear those words. Sin is a big word, right? It's a very big 3-letter word that's very big, right? Sin is not a word that's supposed to be thrown around, but it's a very, men have this mitzvah of Talmud Torah. The women, they have their obligation of studying Torah is not for the sake of Torah itself, it's just in order to be able to know what to do to fill the mitzvot that they need to do. So therefore, if a woman knows the laws of kashrut, as she knows the laws of niddah, she's married, and she knows the laws of whatever all the laws that pertain to her, she doesn't have, the mitzvah of studying Torah, she doesn't have that mitzvah. She only has a mitzvah to perform. The lady.
You're saying it's a sin not to learn?
It's a sin not to learn when a person has the ability to learn and just wasting time.
Who doesn't have the ability not to learn?
I mean, if you're working, at that time you're working, you don't have the ability to learn.
Okay. So then casual time, let's just say golfing, because I golf. That's a sin. Then you're saying it's a sin.
No, I guess, yeah. If you're golfing, most probably you're golfing to you need to golf to clear your mind from your
So the loophole is if it puts me in a better, healthy position mentally, physically, then I could do it because it will prepare me better to learn when I have to learn.
I'm sorry, bad for learning, but for life as a person functioning as a proper person. But if that might, but if it's not real, meaning to say, if let's say a guy, but if you don't need it, I mean, if a guy does not need to go golfing, I don't need to go. I'm fine without the golfing. So now you have a question. You have a mitzvah to learn Torah. You don't have a mitzvah to golf. But if you need to golf, some people need to golf. People need certain things that the people, for whatever reason, it has to be a proper reason that's sufficient to be able to say that I don't need to learn the Torah now at this time. I need it. But if a person really,
well, if you say it's to prepare you better, then okay. But if it's for pure enjoyment, it says I enjoy going to the baseball game. This is I'm on its item. You go sit in a baseball game for 3 hours. So if you say I do it because I enjoy that, I'm not allowed to enjoy something.
again, sometimes people need certain types of enjoyment in life.
No,
People
but you
have
say you need when you say you want and need is a strong word.
right, exactly. So I think so. If it's true, need is a strong word.
No one
So
needs to go to a baseball game.
okay, So if they,
They go there because it's they enjoy it. They want to spend time with their kid or whatever it
I
is.
was gonna say, so then again, spending time for the kids is a need. You see, Mark, you touched on something. You know what I'm saying? The person needs to spend time with their kids. That's a need. But if you don't need a guy, you're not going out with your kids that night. You want to go out for the game just for your own personal pleasure to go to the Yankee game, right? You want to go with your friends, not for your kids. Now,
Right. You go with your friends, the problem.
I'm just saying, this is the question you have to ask: is this called bittul Torah? Is this called now? This is a concept that people don't think about too much, but people need to think about. It's a very serious thing. There's a very serious mitzvah that we have upon us called Talmud Torah, study of Torah. So I think we're having an honest conversation here, as they say, and if you're going out just and you don't need, like I said, if you need it, it's one thing. If you don't really need it, you're just doing it because just for the pleasure of doing it, and
You
it's
should
not.
be learning.
And
You should
now
be learning instead.
I think you have a midst of learning. You have no, and you don't need the gain. You don't need to go. You're not doing it for a real purpose that you need for your children, for your wife. You're going whatever. Unless I make a joke, your wife needs you out of the house. That's a joke. But you heard the joke, Mark? Mark, did
Yes,
you hear
I
the?
did. Good. It's a good one.
Okay, I thought you would
We
appreciate
gotta
it.
we gotta get our wives to need us to leave.
But the truth of the matter is that shouldn't be the case, as we all know. But the bottom line is it's a halachic question, Mark. This is a real halachic question. You got a mitzvah. I was just going to give you an appreciation of the mitzvah. Tosfos asked the question. You say Birkat Torah in the morning, right? But Birkat Shachar, we say Birkat Torah before we learn, and then a person goes to work, and then he goes back to learning. Why doesn't he need to say a new bracha on the mitzvah of learning Torah? You got sidetracked with your work, and now you're going to now you're doing the mitzvah of learning again. Now you're going back to the mitzvah of learning. So why don't you need to recite a new bracha on learning Torah? So I think one of the things one of Tosa's approach is that even when you went to work, you weren't losing focus on going back to learning. It was just, I just got to step out to work, got to go to work, but then I'm coming right back. So it's like it's a continuous focus. So, I think that addresses your question. Mark, I would love to hear. I'm going to give you homework, Mark, okay? I want you to talk it over with some of your rabbis. Yeah, I know thank God you have many good rabbis. And I want you to talk it out with them and hear what they have to say about this question that you asked about, is this
I don't have a real question on it because I know that you're supposed to be learning. And when you're doing idle things, then you're wasting time. And you can't
okay?
waste time.
Exactly. That's called right. The only right that's called and that's a big problem. That's a big thing. Wasting time is wasting time is an avon. It's a sin.
Right.
How do you like that? It's a big word. It's a big thing to Morris. Is that a big thing to say? Yeah, Ezra, am I making sense? Any questions on what we're saying? Are we saying anything that sounds too? We have a responsibility. We as Jews, as men, were given this mitzvah called Talmud Torah. It's a big responsibility to learn Torah. And if you look in the room, there's a lot of svarim. There's a lot to learn. And if we would spend all our time learning and not wasting time, we still won't know everything that we need to know, right? It's endless. There's a whole Shas, there's a whole Gemara Shas, there's a whole Tanakh. There's so much to learn. If people would use their time properly, finish the whole Mishnah, finish the whole Gemara, all the Gemara. There's so much to learn, but that is our responsibility. And the truth of the matter is, Mark, a person needs to be honest with themselves. Am I supposed to be learning during this time, or is it warranted that I'm taking away time from the learning?
It's one of those things that's very contextual, not like as Rambam once said in a very objective way, you have to do X number of hours a day. but I don't think that's how it's meant for us. Like it's very like honor system because nobody really understands the context of each individual person. It's not like there's hard rules. Like with tefillah, it's like, okay, we know how long each prayer is. You have to be at 3 of them. But this is something that's more personal in that way. You don't really, because in everyone has to have the balance of like how much kids, how much leisure, but nobody other than you really knows how much you actually need.
Right. It's given to the individual. A guy goes ahead and he's able to, he's able to spend his time learning. And each individual is different. A guy who's capable, who has the ability to learn, he doesn't have to go out to earn a living, right? And whatever it is, and now he's just now. So that's also a question that a person has to ask. Obviously, a person is going to work and he's earning a living, and he's let's say a guy retires. Now, what does a guy do when he's retired? So if a guy goes ahead and he travels the world when they're retired, that's not, you don't have a mitzvah. There's no mitzvah to travel the world. You have a mitzvah to learn Torah. So that person's in a spot that he's supposed to. And he's saying everything depends on their personal situation. Is what will give he might have an allowance not to be learning. The other guy does not have that allowance, depending on what's their personal situation in life.
So could you say that, like, I know people that learn all day, and I know people that learn 6 hours a day, 4 or 5 hours a day, whenever they're not working, they're learning.
Right.
And certain people can't do that. Like I can't sit for 3 hours a month.
You might think, first of all, you can't sit it for 3 hours, but you might surprise yourself. Number one, and number two, maybe if it's presented in a way, maybe if something is depends how it's being done.
My question is does everyone have a different ability to learn, or the same way someone else has a different ability to do every trait or everything you do? So like some people have less patience to sit in a meeting or do certain things that they need to do. Certain people don't even have don't have the ability to go work. So it's like, is everyone obligated to learn all the time that they're not working, or is it one's not? That's one size fits all. Or is it size to the person's ability to what they could take in?
What I'm saying, I think more people sell themselves short. You know what I'm saying? People they say, I don't have the ability, they have it in Yiddish, it's Sitzfleisch, I can't sit.
Right.
A lot of people think that way. So if you can't sit, so maybe, now what can you do? What would be the way you would learn? Would you go ahead and maybe, if there's a dynamic video, but the rabbi that you love to hear to speak, you can listen to the whole day. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you might be able to sit at a class. Maybe you could listen to a class. Maybe you could, if you would have a one-on-one, or you could create a scenario to get that job done. So I would just say I think people sell themselves short and they think they can't. And you know what? And Avram said, "L'fum tzara agra." The more challenging it is for a person to sit or for a person to push themselves to learn, that's the reward is so much greater. I mean, it's not an exemption because it's hard. It's hard for me to learn.
I didn't say it will work.
But I'm saying, right. But I'm saying the fact that
it's very easy for me to sit for 8 hours. It's very hard to get to sit for 1 hour. Maybe it's worth figuring out.
Right. But then you have right. But the thing is like this: let's say a guy says, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to sit. But would that be an excuse? I don't see right. I don't see that as an exemption. But I don't see a person. Sometimes people might have some actual mental, emotional, certain things that they the people don't have. You don't have that. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? There are people that whatever there could be that type of right that they just can't. That's a physical or emotional thing. So then but when it's not that, it's just that I'm not training myself. I'm not pushing myself. Am I making some sense, Rob? Okay, we're gonna have a lot more people, a lot more time learning in the world now because of our conversation over here. What did you say, Rodney?
I have thoughts. Oh, am I on the line?
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So yes,
Sorry, my daughter's here. Put
no
myself on mute.
problem, no problem. So that is it's something that people don't talk about too much. I don't think it's spoken about, this thing called Avon Bittul Torah. And there is a Yerushalmi that's in the Jerusalem Talmud. It says, take the same way we say Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, the study of Torah equals all the mitzvot. Like it's like, it's so great. Right. The Gemara, there's an opinion that says that the children of a person could pass away as a result of the lack of the parents learning Torah. Right. And they're very strong.
Now, Alex doesn't know this.
He doesn't know this. Hashem, I don't believe it's hard that Hashem is not going to punish a guy's death children, I don't think, because they don't know. People don't know. Generally, we don't find such punishment. Generally, the punishment is when people know something and they don't do it. And what'd you say?
We've all been warned.
Yes, it's everybody.
It's not about quantity, it's about quality.
It's about using your time properly. No, right. It's not just about quality. It's about quality, meaning you have to use your time. Like Adam said, every person. He says quality. It's about quality, but I'm saying, but the bottom line is.
People that say, mother that says, I only spend a half hour with my kid a day, but where are you for a half hour? You spend great quality.
Not enough.
No,
It's not enough.
that.
You have to spend quantity time, not only quality time. We can show the parents that the fathers that are not home, right? That just spend the half hour.
This is definitely a
Quantity of time. But the point is, like I think Adam said, every person has their own scorecard, and every person, depending on their situation and where they are in life. People that younger, it depends. Sometimes people are busy at work, busy with the kids, busy whatever. That's one level of life, and then the guy. What's your answer for the guy when he's not in that stage of life, right? But you know what? Hashem gives even the people that are young. See, the Rambam Maimonides writes the following. He says there's a mitzvah to learn Torah, and he says about the mitzvah of learning Torah, which we're discussing. He says everybody's obligated to learn Torah, whether one's wealthy, whether one's poor, whether one's single, or whether even if you're married with children, you have to learn. Meaning he understands. You're married with children, you have more on your plate. But you still have to have a set time to learn Torah every day, every night. That's how the Rambam talks. The Rambam says, until when is your obligation to learn Torah? Morning, Asaf. The Rambam says the obligation is until the day that a person leaves this world. There's no such thing as retirement. No expiration. I'm retired. I'm off. I put in the time. People think more obligation. And you know what? And you know what? Maybe a person has to prepare. People, the older person is they're closer to going to the future world, so they got to prepare the food. So maybe that's why Hashem made it that way. That when a person is older, they should have more time, hopefully. And then if you have more time to go in, you don't have all the expenses that you have of taking care of kids and all the busyness that you have of work for a lot of people. So now they should be focused on preparing themselves for the next stage of the next world. So Hashem gave them, I'm just thinking out loud now, like the Chidush, Hashem gave them that opportunity. He said, I gave you time. I gave you time to prepare for the trip. And then the way the Chafetz Chaim talks about, and the commentator told you have to prepare a lot, because that trip after 120, you're going to live off that forever. So you're going to live off the learning and all the mitzvot. So now I gave you the time. And instead, what are people doing with their time when they get older? A lot of people are just wasting their time. They don't know what to do with themselves. But as a Jew, there's no such thing that we could be, I'm bored. I have nothing to do. There's no such concept as a Jew that Hashem gave you. You have nothing to do, because you always have the mitzvah to study. You always have that mitzvah. There's no such thing.
Who says that's a better mitzvah?
Oh, So Mark asked a great question. Even though Torah is greater than the rest of the mitzvot, but there's a law that says a mitzvah that's not done by somebody else, you have to put down the Gemara, you have to go in and do it. Hashem wants you not just to learn Torah, I want you to perform all those mitzvot. So Hashem says that you close the sefer, you go visit the sick person. You close the sefer, you go comfort the person who lost a loved one.
If someone else is doing it,
Yeah, right. But you have to understand every person's, let's say when it comes to visiting the sick, every person adds a tremendous amount. When you visit someone, that doesn't, it's not what, if I visit that same person, but it's not making up for what you would add to that person. But I'll give you an example. There's two brothers, right? One brother has a class to go to. The other brother is not interested in going to the Torah class. And the father says, I need some help around the house. It can be done by this son or this son. So the law is that the son who wants to go to a class, is in the middle of a class, he doesn't have to stop the class to take care of his father if his brother is going to take care of him. Right.
yeah.
The guy has one son and the father needs him. He has to close the sefer and help the dad. I got to take care of the dad. Stay up the whole night with the dad. Whatever it is, the dad's.
And the son doesn't even know one of the meetings, so he doesn't know he's gonna go and not do anything. Now it's upon the other son to stay with the dad because there's not gonna be nobody to take off. You understood?
Okay, yeah. But you're saying that one son, he has to stop, close the sefer, take care of dad. You know that is the law. You close a mitzvah that can't be done by somebody else.
That's defined.
Right, then you
So this could be done by someone else. Keep
You-
learning.
keep learning. You don't stop your learning. It can't be done by someone else. You have to stop. You have to stop. If there's a need to be done, you got to go ahead and mommy calls. Daddy calls. You got to just take care of whatever they need to be taken care of. So this is one of the. So I was saying the Yerushalmi, the Jerusalem Talmud says the following. We all know Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. The study of Torah is equal to all the mitzvot. Whatever that means, it just gives you a picture of what it means. Bittul Torah, the wasting of time Torah equals all the sins. That's a very big statement. Hope I'm not scaring anybody over here. But the point is, you know what? Hopefully, hopefully it's making a nice impression that it's a total different. We see when we look at, we are engaged right now in one of the greatest mitzvahs that there is. There's learning Torah. We're engaged in a mitzvah. I gave every time pretty much I give classes at different colleges, right? So let's say yesterday at Queens College. How do we open up the class? I have different types of kids. I have religious kids in the class, not religious kids. We open the class with a bracha. I say, who did not say the bracha? Anyone wants to volunteer to say the bracha on the Torah? That's how we open the class. Because you're about to do a mitzvah. The mitzvah of what? Of Talmud Torah. Now, if you didn't say the bracha, you're not supposed to learn. You're really not supposed to learn without saying the bracha. You're not allowed to learn without saying the bracha. So who we got to volunteer? We have a volunteer. If no one volunteers, I could say it for them. I could say the bracha again. It's a mitzvah. It's like I can make kiddush again for someone. I could say the bracha again. That's how we open the class in Queens College, in Baruch College. We open the class with. Is there someone here that wants to volunteer? I don't want to embarrass anybody. Say, I don't want to ask anybody point blank. Did you say the bracha? I can't do that. You see what I'm saying? I can't tell. Did you say the bracha on the Torah? Unless it's someone that I can get. Right.
I say kiddush in the same room. I can say it again.
100 times.
If I go to a different room.
So if you say kiddush, if you kiddush in this room, and you had a guest, and you want to say kiddush again, then another guest shows up. You can say 100 times. In the same place, you can say kiddush 100 times because you're responsible for you're responsible for each other. Everybody call your son. Therefore, you're responsible to make sure that he does that mitzvah. And therefore, you could say kiddush 100 times, as many times the whole night. You could be saying kiddush for people who walk in. If they want to say their own kiddush, they could say it. But if you want, you could say the kiddush for them to cover them. There's an amazing thing. The Rabbeinu Yonah writes the following. According to the Torah law, if you go ahead, if not you, Adam knows how to say Birkat Hamazon, but if someone does not know how to say Birkat Hamazon and he eats, and I didn't eat, so the rabbinic law is I can't say Birkat Hamazon unless I ate in order to cover him. But Torah law is I could go ahead and say Birkat Hamazon for him even if I didn't eat anything, because I'm responsible. He should say Birkat Hamazon. We are responsible for each other. We're not like have Cain that says, "Am I my brother's keeper?" We are. We are all our brother's keeper. When someone says it's not my business, you sound like you're talking like Cain. Like Cain. Cain says that's not a Jewish concept. We are responsible for each other, right? So, but the Rabbanan say I have to eat in order to say, and I'm going to just share the chidush on a Torah level. How much bread you have to eat to say Birkat Hamazon? Because v'chalta v'savata uverachta. You have to go and eat and be satiated. Let's say a nice amount of bread, right? The rabbis say even one slice of bread, a kazayit, you could go ahead and you have a responsibility to say Birkat Hamazon, right? So the halacha is the other guy, the non-religious Jew or whatever, or traditional Jew who does not say Birkat Hamazon, he ate a full meal that has a biblical obligation to say Birkat Hamazon. He had a lot of bread. He's full. I had one slice of bread. I have a rabbinic obligation to say Birkat Hamazon, one slice of bread. He had a full meal. He has a Torah obligation. I, who have that rabbinic obligation of Birkat Hamazon, have the ability to say Birkat Hamazon for him. Why? Because as being responsible for him, I should say it even without eating anything. Because I'm responsible for him. So therefore, once I ate a kazayit, an ounce, the rabbi said you could already say Birkat Hamazon for the guy. Even I only have a rabbinic obligation, but I have a Torah obligation to be responsible for him.
What was satiated, everything else on the table.
But he wouldn't say Birkat Hamazon. He has to have at least a kazayit, whatever that size of a kazayit is of bread.
Really? You can have
Less than
a full meal
he
and
can-
satiated full.
No Birkat Hamazon.
Wow.
Now, then becomes a whole question, because now the question is, did the hamotzi cover all the foods he had by the meal? Meaning, if you have a motzi and you don't have a kazayit, it might not cover all the foods he ate. Because all the foods are called secondary to your bread, but if he only had less than a kazayit, so you're getting into issues, right? So that's why this is the issue about women, because women are very diet conscientious, much more than men, in my humble opinion. Money David, and what did you say about some men are too? But I said if we take the statistics, then the ladies are much more diet conscientious than men. I think with that I think the statistics. And on Shabbat, you make say hamotzi, and the lady eats a little bit, but if she only takes that's the whole bread, it's not good enough. She has to have an ounce. She has to have a slice of bread for the Shabbat meal. Whatever that, it's not a lot. They take a little. It's not enough. That's we have to. That's my point. For those men who are diet conscious, they also have to realize let's get them whole wheat bread. Let's get them healthy bread. Whatever that bread is that they're concerned for their diet, let's get that. But at least they should go ahead and eat the proper amount. And the whole week, don't eat bread the whole week. But at least on Shabbat, you should go ahead and do that. So now the Gemara says, we were speaking, David, before that it's a very serious thing when the person says a vow. I'm going to give charity. I'm going to bring something an offering to the temple. You said there's a power to a word, and a power to a word is a very serious thing to break a vow. And the Torah tells us you can't break a vow. But the Gemara now says that breaking of a vow could have ramifications for one's young children, not one's older. Once a child is over bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, they're not going to be affected by their parents' iniquities. The parents not doing the right thing will not be, the children are not affected by it. But there is a concept, which is a hard concept to swallow, but it seems there's a concept that a child that's under 13 it's not an adult yet, and it's like just another extension of the father. Even though a child over 13 is also extension of the father, but it's less, and therefore the child can actually get punished for the sins,
So you're
for the
saying
for the
father-
intentional sins of the
you're
of
saying
the.
with the father, it's not right.
And so here we have, and
the
then
mother, you're saying-
no, so the mother, very good. So here we're talking
What
about,
about other options with the mother?
right, so we did not see about if a mother does sins with the child under bat mitzvah, we don't see that the children will be affected. We only find the father, only if she does her own sins, she could be affected. We didn't see, so I'm not going to extend, what I don't see, I don't say. Meaning, we didn't see that concept, but we do see the concept of a father who does sins intentionally, meaning not without knowledge. We're saying the father knows I can't do this, and he's not careful, and he's not on top of his game, and the child could, a punishment for the father could be that the child could be affected by it. Now you could also say that maybe that would, you want to say something? Yes, David.
I'm making that I'm gonna keep that checked on.
That's great.
but I didn't take care of the refrigerator. That was my problem.
Okay, but right, so
Did I bring it out?
okay, so I would say, like, I was like this, for the future, you should have you want to keep, say you want to keep the Shabbat 100,000%, but say, I don't want it to be in the state of a vow. You could say something, meaning a word of a person, I don't know you, David, well enough yet, but I would speculate that your word is a word. It's not like, you're not a type, you don't look like a guy that's a shaky guy. That's great.
The question, the word.
But your word, Dave, when you say a word, your word is I would say, am I right, Mark?
Excellent.
Excellent. I mean, I deal with people, if I can't read a person, then I gotta retire, you know what I'm saying? So I would say your word, you look like your word is a word. So when you just say, I'm gonna do it. But it's not, there are some people that think Belin Ed means I don't need to do it. That's not Belin Ed means. Belin Ed means I just don't want it to have the status of a vow. But I'm doing it. My word is gold. My word is gold. And that's what the rabbis say. A word of a person, I once heard from Rabbi Steger, he should be well. He said a great line. I heard it over 30 years ago, and it made a great impression on me. He said, people promise. What are you going to promise for? You're promising me. If I promise, then you could trust what I say. But if I don't promise, then you can't trust what I'm saying. What do you mean? My word is just like should be. Your word is supposed to be like a promise. Not that it is a promise, but the word is to be good enough. Right. Right. But by the way, that's a beautiful thing. It'll be a great Elin Neshama for your father. By the way, obviously, such a thing, because your father lives off of you. I mean, his neshama gets elevated because of the children, all the children, grandchildren. So what you do when you accept upon yourself to keep on doing great things, that'll bring him great honor upstairs. Have a great day, everybody. A great day. Thank you for joining. Every second we appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Rabbi. Have a
Thank
great
you for
day.
coming. And we're here every day, 6:45 to 7:25. We take you anytime, all right? Morris, thank you for being here. Simon? He's staying in Brooklyn. He's doing pretty good. I spoke to son Ray. He's staying in Brooklyn. Thank you. Maybe you want to call him. I think he'll appreciate hearing from you.